Does it make sense to buy an electric vehicle in 2024? In 2023, we've already seen that over 6 lakh electric vehicles have been sold. That's electric four-wheelers only, by the way. And that is the number of electric vehicles that made it to our roads in a single year. So clearly, the trend to move to electric is happening. We're seeing more and more people getting on board with it. But are you one of them? Are you someone who needs an electric vehicle? And that's what I've tried to answer in this video. I'm Vikram Gore, you're watching MOTORSCRIBES, and in this video, we're going to be talking about, do you need an electric vehicle in 2024? Well, all that sounds great, and we do know that there are a lot of pros going electric, but what are the cons when it comes to going electric? Number one is the initial price of the vehicle. While we do have entry-level electric vehicles like the MG Comet, which start off at about 8.5 lakhs, you do get a rather decent electric vehicle in the 17 to 20 lakh range, So it is still a bit of a price point and something to consider. And that is definitely going to fall in my cons list of electric vehicles. Secondly is range anxiety. Yes, infrastructure is improving. We've seen it. I've personally tested it. I took a Mercedes EQB from Goa all the way to Kanyakumari on back roads, and the idea was to check infrastructure in the boonies. So yes, it's developing, but it's still a question mark hanging on a lot of people's heads. So that's range anxiety is there. And of course, I've also touched upon the fact that infrastructure is a cost and is something that we really need to build out. So with that, we've also got another con happening over there. But does that mean you should shun your decision to buy an electric vehicle? Absolutely not. What you need to do is really take into consideration all of this and a lot more. I'm going to get right to that now. All right, so who is an electric vehicle for then? Well, if you happen to be an urban dweller, you live in the city, then it makes a lot of sense because an electric vehicle in the city is just right. I mean, we're talking about a lot of congestion, start-stop traffic, dealing with the fact that there's already heightened pollution levels out in the city. So going electric is you doing your bit to ensure that you're not impacting the environment in that way. But having said that, you also get brilliant infrastructure in our cities today. It's all worked out really well. We've seen cities like Delhi, Bombay, Kochi, even smaller towns coming up with better infrastructure when it comes to going electric. And if your prime purpose is about commuting, then there's nothing better than an electric vehicle for that. Because what you do get is extremely low running costs. You can go to work and back. Electric vehicles are extremely efficient at lower speeds. So that's another big plus point for you to consider. The other element is if you are a techie. If you really like your tech, you're looking for something that's really tech savvy, then I think electric vehicles really appeal to that notion. They're sort of blurring the lines between tech and automobiles. We're seeing more and more tech coming into play with electric vehicles. So it's absolutely brilliant if you enjoy all of this stuff. So if you fall into the urban category, you are a techie, you're someone who's environmentally conscious, then going electric is definitely for you. So that's something you want to consider. That's something you want to see how your profile fits and whether an electric vehicle solves your problems on that front. So we've spoken about the pros, we've looked at the cons. There are a few more things for you to consider as well. And that is the fact that there are limited options in the market currently. I mean, we've got the MG Comet, which is your base entry-level sort of vehicle. In the mid-range, you've got the MG ZS EV. And then going to the upper premium mid-range, you've got the Hyundai Ioniq 5. And in the high end, you do get more choices with Mercedes offering the EQB, the EQE. Audi has the e-tron, and you also get the I-Pace from Jaguar, just as certain examples over here. But we could still see more happening. I know that Mahindra has the XUV 400 as well, and they could surprise us in 2024 with a host of new electric models coming out. Tata Motors does play their electric card quite well, and that's another choice that you do have. But While I have named a lot of manufacturers here, the truth is that when it comes model to model, there's just a very limited option. So you have to see if any of these actually fit your bill. So that's something you want to definitely consider when it comes to buying electric. Two, the other thing that you want to check is you might be really keen on going electric, but is the infrastructure in your area all set up? Most major cities are sorted. Some states like Kerala are completely sorted, but you want to check it out where you live as well. Last but not the least, you also want to take into consideration the budget and incentives. State governments give different incentives. Take a look into that. Don't forget to tick mark that on your checklist when you're looking at going electric. So with that, I will conclude and say that going electric is a decision that definitely makes a lot of sense if you do tick mark a lot of these options that I've given. So keep that in mind. 6 lakh people last year already went electric, so you're not really going to be in the first mover category. There is already a tried and tested amount of data out there that says it is feasible, it is doable, and people are living with their electric vehicles. Yes, they might not be able to take off to Leh or Ladakh on a short notice trip, but for 90% of their youth, which is commuting to office and back and running around the city, an electric vehicle just makes so much sense. So if you fall into any of these categories, you've been considering it, I hope that this video has helped you get one step closer to answering that question. If you have anything further to ask, please leave a comment behind and I will get back to you. It's a promise I make to all my viewers on MOTORSCRIBES that write in and I will answer your queries.